Welcome.
Thank you.
My name's Elan Beer. I'm the CTO for SDN Pros and one of the senior instructors. And we're going to have just a very casual discussion around some basic instructing skills and questions about certain courses. Did you want to say hello, introduce yourself?
Well, hi, everyone. Yeah, my name is Wade Philley, and I'm an instructor with SDN Pros, and I'm the lead instructor over a couple of areas, DMF and NDR. So I've been teaching about 23 years, started late 1999. In the Arista world, I've been teaching for about 3 years now, really right at the beginning of the pandemic.
My name is Neill Craven. I've been involved in internet networking now for almost too many years. I think it's about 35 or 40 years now, and have been involved in instructing for most of that time, and with Arista for the last 3 or 4 years.
Introduce yourself. Okay.
Hello, my name is Amir Ranjbar. I'm based in Toronto, Canada, and I've been doing consulting and training for about 25 years. My main focus has been level 3 and level 4. I was also involved in developing the level 4 class.
The Arista courses that we present have both theory as well as labs. So what I'm wondering is, do you have a preferred approach to how students should do these labs? But also, do you have some recommendations for what they could do to have when they're doing labs after the course is done? Because as you know, students in the SDN Pro training program, they have labs that at the end of the training as well.
One of the problems I find, or not a problem, one of the challenges I find students have is to set a specific schedule for a lab. This lab should take 47.5 minutes. And if you're not done in 47.5 minutes, too bad, you lose out. Well, that's not the way it is, because we have the labs available continuously from the start of class until, as you pointed out, at least 2 weeks, if not 3 weeks after the end of class. So the students can work at whatever pace they like. So I make it very clear that when you're working with a lab, first of all, read very carefully what it is we're trying to do. Labs are very well written, explaining what we're going to achieve and then how do we do that. Take your time. It's not a race, no prize for being first. And also keep in mind that if you want to branch off in any direction in your own, I use an expression which I assume some of you have heard: what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Our lab environment is captive, which means what you do in your lab environment is not going to interfere with anything happening to any other student, does not in any way end up causing grief outside of our lab environment. So have fun, enjoy it, take your time, work through the labs, understand what you're doing. As I pointed out, it's not a race. Now, as a result, one of the opportunities is that we can work any time of the day or night. If you would rather take an early break, should I call for labs at, let's say, 3:30 in the afternoon? You want to perhaps cut the grass or do something else during that time? Pick it up later. Work at your pace. When's the right time for you to work on labs?
You made some really good points. Number one, we have labs available to us from Monday morning, continuously 24 hours right up until the end of the course. So that's a very important point. The other thing that I could add is what I tell my students when I'm teaching is there's always the training at sdnpro.com email address, which if they have any problems with the lab access, or if they have any problem with the labs during the following weeks that they have access, they can always use that email as well.
I like to mix lab and lecture at times. Whenever you can do labs during lunch and then labs at the end of the day, it really adds a lot of value because the students don't quite feel the time crunch. And so I really appreciate that. But there are times when the lecture and lab discussions go so tightly that you have to intermix them. But my objective is to try to do labs with lunch and at the end of the day. As far as labs after the course, I really I love it that when the students have access to labs afterwards, that they do them. And there's a great opportunity to be able to erase configs and rebuild from scratch, and an excellent learning opportunity out of that. And a really great thing is, in the midst of these times after the labs or after the class ends, I'm a busy guy, so I can't always be there helping the students. But at SDN Pros, we have a resource. Training at sdn-pros.com is an email alias that you can send if you have questions or thoughts or concerns in the middle of the class or after the class. And really, it's a great utility for labs, but also a great utility for current and previous students to be able to engage and get some additional help when and where needed.
In terms of doing labs, I always suggest people to go through the labs, follow the instructions, don't be too analytical on the first flow. So, because I want to break the ice, I want them to see the material, the operation. So once that stage is done, I always suggest them to definitely to do the labs more than once. Of course, during the class time, that may not be possible. Usually, is not, but definitely in the additional weeks, that is possible. So second time around, I tell them to be more analytical, try additional commands, and then I tell them, you know, either through doing it the third time or something like that, try to formulate what the lab achieves and how it's done. I say to them the best way to master technology is imagine that you have to teach it afterwards. So organize it.
Very good. And any special recommendation if they're trying to do the lab outside of course hours or even after the course is ended? Anything that you would recommend or an approach or a style?
Well, making notes, having notes is always helpful. Being able to do efficient research is very helpful. Having links already, you know, important links like www.arista.com and more is very helpful. But we're also available to them after the course ends. We provide our emails to our students. And if they're stuck, I always encourage people to solve problems on their own if they can, because that's more realistic, like in real life. But even in real life, sometimes your expertise, your time, your resources are not always unlimited. So it's always good to consult with others and ask questions. So we're available to them after the course ends, so they can freely consult with us and get help. It's
interesting that you said, you know, you contact me. Sometimes I'll get emails from people a year later. They said, you know, you said this, can you help me with that? So I find that a really positive thing with us instructors, that we talk to our students well after the course ends. So very good point. Well, thank you. Thanks for the discussion, and hopefully we'll have a few more of these and we can go deeper into some of these technologies with you.
Thank you. Appreciate the time.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you very much.